your name, by the way.
Good. Oh, I'm not gonna slaughter John. There's no way I'm gonna slaughter John. Oh, you mean his last name?
His last name, you dork.
Oh. All right, by the way, we're live. Deadman's Tome Podcast.
Uh-oh.
Your host, Mr. Deadman. Co-host, Becky. Guest tonight is John. Don't interrupt me. No. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get it. John Palisano.
Nailed it.
I nailed it?
That's like a...
No way.
Yay!
No way.
That's it.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh, I did
That
it.
never happens. How the hell did that happen?
I don't know. But
Good.
I did it, guys. I did it. Now I got to celebrate with my midgets tonight. I got to celebrate with my lovely Kardashian midgets tonight. Which, by the way, I gotta stay on my game. I can't no shots on the shot cam tonight because I gotta stay on my game because they were trying to escape earlier. So okay. I'm by the front door. I gotta stop them if they try. It's all consensual, guys. They sign papers and all that. It's just they want to go out and have a girls' night, and I'm just like, no, you gotta stay in right now. You gotta stay in. Anyway, sorry. My attorney's telling me I should probably stop talking about that. Quick announcements.
As your attorney, I advise you. Oh, wait.
Quick announcements real fast.
Avoid backcountry.
We have some open calls. Psycho Holiday. Psycho Holiday. What is Psycho Holiday? I'm looking for horror shorts. 10K, 5K word count. All right. Make it about a psychopathic Santa Claus or psycho killer or something. Holiday themed. Send it to me. I like chainsaws. I like knives, and I like creative weapons.
Lots of blood and guts.
Yeah. Let's make it really bloody. Christmas. Some blood on the ornaments and shit like that.
Guess who's coming down the chimney?
Yeah, if you could do like Leatherface as Santa, that'd be great. Leatherface at the mall. Oh man, I don't know how you make that work.
Lord.
I make that work.
I bet John could do it.
I know he could. $10 token payment. $10 token payment plus royalties. 60% royalties, which could go up more, by the way, if we get more patrons. If I reach the goal on the patron page, royalty rates go up even higher because that's how I roll. And also another announcement for open calls: Dead Baby Shark. I still need a few more submissions for that to make that work. Dead Baby Shark is Deadman's Tome's first, I guess you could say, like a goosebump, or it's for younger adults, kind of kids,
right?
So no profanity, but you can still have some blood in there. I'll screen it by. I'll use my kids as a test.
Oh my god!
Yeah, no.
You also have one called Deep Fried Horror.
Deep Fried Horror. Deep Fried Horror is the pretty much it's a name change for the free to read eZine that Deadman's Tome has. Deep Fried Horror. So send me that. $10 token payment, but no royalties because it's a free eZine. But it's available. Everyone could read it. And lately, the free to read stuff has been going like crazy. People love that. There's no paywall. There's no barrier. So pretty much it's a link. And I say it's up in the, I think the October issue has 1,000 reads so far. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I don't know if they read them all the way through. There's no way for me to know that. I just know if they clicked on the PDF. Or the,
awesome.
the file or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, so since I shield my stuff, John Palisano, do you have anything you would like to plug real fast?
Other than my ears, probably no. Because they're doing construction on this house that's never ending.
Oh Lord!
Nice save. I thought maybe you were correcting my.
You're like 6 a.m. Like I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Hey, what's going on?
Oh my God!
And here, so in all seriousness, I just had a short story, my first short story in a while, come out called "The Prince of Darkness and the Showgirl," which is the story of how Marilyn Monroe is a secret co-op of the government who actually her dumb blonde persona is a total fibs so that she can get into weird supernatural places and do things like talk a demon down from starting the Korean War, things like that.
What now? This caught my attention. Marilyn Monroe is a secret is a government op. She's a plant. Oh man.
Yeah, she knows. She goes and says, "Hi everybody, it's Marilyn." "Oh, go right in, Miss Monroe." And they let her in, and then she's, "All right, boys, gloves are off. Give me this demon son of a bitch." And she goes to the toe with him, and "You're gonna stop this war, motherfucker." So it's kind of it's a fun little story. The opening, the first day it came out, though, the really funny thing is somebody slammed it. A reviewer, she put in, she or he, I don't know, said, "Oh, these are the 5-star stories. These are the 3-star stories. Most of them suck. There's the 2-star stories, and then the 2 1-star stories are Prince of Darkness and the Showgirl and Bubba Hotep from Joe Lansdale." And then she put, "Yes, I saw the movie and I hated it too." And I just howled with laughter. I'm like, wow.
Okay. But see, some of those people are just, some of those reviewers, and I'm not going to name names or anything, but you know who you are. Some of them are just trolls. Some of them are just, I don't know. Because you were in Monsters Exist, Deadman's Tome Monsters Exist, and there was a few short stories that I thought were great, but they received like 1-star, 2-star treatment by various readers, various fans, I guess. And it's just like, but it's an anthology, they're different flavors, different tastes. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's like a box of chocolates, kind of sort of thing.
Yeah, man. If you ever go like look up like The Shining or something like that, and read the Amazon reviews and go to the 1-stars, it is endlessly entertaining. Yes. Books, and then people are like, they just tear them apart, and it's just like, what? What planet are these people from? I didn't like it because there's no poisonous snakes. There's not a single mirror in The Shining. Literally, that's like stuff like that, and you're like, what?
Right. And you're free to cuss on the show if you want to cuss.
That's okay.
That's
okay.
Fucking, I don't know if it's like you can fucking cuss as much as you want on this fucking show.
All right. Cool.
I literally have memes on the screen right now with the word shit in it. So,
good.
Fine.
Okay. Cool.
Deadman's Tome literally has a publication called The Shit Show. So yeah, you can cuss on the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I did. I'm trying to find that.
And I read Chris Miller's story, Flush, too, on the show.
Yeah.
And it was about shit.
Oh yeah, Flush. Wow. What's that one? The Chuck Palahniuk one about the kid who sticks the wax in his wiener hole. That got unsubscribed from Playboy.
My Lord!
Read that one.
No, I haven't read that one, but I need to read that one live on the show.
I don't want to. No,
it hurts.
Absolutely not. No.
I saw it. He read it at a convention I was at several years ago, and like people were like leaving. People were like sliding off of chairs.
Did it make your butt pucker?
Well, it made the other side pucker.
Oh yeah, I bet it would too.
I was like, oh man,
I don't even have one of those, and oh my God, I cannot even. No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, you're not reading that.
Okay, now before we get carried away, here, because I know we want to jump right into talking all about John Palisano and all the stuff he's been doing. He's a pretty entertaining guy.
Okay.
There's some news things we need to cover real fast.
Let's hit it.
Becky.
Yes, sir.
How bad was this weekend? Was it a pretty bad weekend? I mean, we had a mass shooting.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, people just scare the hell out of me.
Yeah. Just horrible.
We don't need to make up monsters. All we have to do is look outside or watch the news.
That's right.
There's plenty of monsters around.
No, sometimes it's like we make up the monsters to escape from the monsters that are around us.
Right.
Totally.
I mean,
totally.
But it's like I don't know. It's a recipe of hatred and means to intent to do harm and means to do harm. That recipe. It's just. It leads to events like
evil.
This. Yeah, evil all around. It's just, I hope I don't know, man. I just, I know this sounds hippie. I don't want to sound like a hippie over here, a tree hugging hippie, but it's like we need more love, guys. We need more love to go around because everyone's all hating everybody. All hate, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
It sounds weird coming from me, though. Just saying that, I felt like I vomited just saying that 4-letter word. Like, love. Jesus.
It's like the Fonz with his girlfriend.
Oh.
Calling back to the 70s. Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you, man. You know, it's, you know, the American dream is fractured. We're like the divided states now instead of the United States, and it sucks. You know,
You're
it's
right.
like, we really need to kind of like come together here and like, hey, you know, I love firearms. I support firearms. You know, my family's military. And I love shooting guns and stuff. It's fun. It's cool. But, you know, you also know, Jesus, that's a firearm, you know? You have a lot of respect for it. And it just seems like human life. And there's just so much. I don't know. I think people are just
people have lost respect for everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It's safety, each other, religion, beliefs, everything. Our military personnel.
Yep.
I mean, they have no respect for anything, and it's. I don't know what happened or what caused that.
My theory is that I think a lot of people are just feeling really disenfranchised, and like they just feel like people just can't get a fair shake. You know, everywhere they turn, and they're going nuts. And I don't think it's a Republican, or I know we're not supposed to talk about politics, and I don't think it's a political thing. I think it's a human thing.
I think you're right.
In the world, you know, and just people are like, dude, why am I working 40 hours a week and I can't make my rent?
Right.
You know,
Well, that's a
like
good
basics.
point. That's a good point you brought there, because it's not just politics; it's a human thing. In that there's hatred. Hatred is a very human emotion. You know, like we hate things at times. We hate things we don't understand. We hate things that we feel are against us. And maybe it's because we feel that they're against us because of what so-and-so told us, what the media told us, what this group told us, and that, or what this person said, what that person said. But, you know, it's just... And think about guns, man. Like, you know, I'm always Second Amendment. You know, I have a group of guns. We fired guns here. I went hunting with my dad. You know, I like guns. But, man, it's like, man, like... You have to ask, like, what can we do? Like, can you make it where it's mandated where government checks your house, make sure your guns are in a safe? I mean, what? What can you do?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot that we can do. And, you know, I grew up around guns and stuff, and there was always a respect. There was always a, you know, hey, you're not getting the semi-automatic until you're 13, you know, kind of a thing. And, you know, it's going to be closely guarded and used very judiciously and, you know, with a lot of respect. Like Becky was saying, there's just a loss of respect now. And I think if we respect the gun and gun owners, and then, you know, we come up with some kind of a good solution for that, I think it would really solve a lot of those issues. But, you know, honestly, you know, we've always had these kinds of issues. If you go back to Kent State and stuff, I mean, there's always been kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, you know, where do we draw the line?
Yeah, you kind
of people need to be accountable for their actions. They need to, you know, if you do something wrong, say, hey, you know, I screwed it up. You know, I did it. I don't know. Yeah,
and on the flip side of that, with the whole new guilt by social media, as a weapon, weaponized social media now, people don't even have a chance to like make the tiniest of mistakes without being hung up to dry. And you know, it's ridiculous. Like people feel they have a way out to.
All you have to do is piss off one reader or one author, and they all want to kill you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen that so many times. Hell, I've been on the receiving end of it. You know.
Yep.
And it just kills me. Yeah, I know. We all have, I think.
And it's always
time or another.
I want to hear your story. What happened with that? My story was really benign. Somebody said, "Hey, who's your favorite Beatle?" And I put Keith Richards. And right. And I thought, you know. And then she wrote, "Fuck you." right, and blocked me. So
really?
Wow, yeah, and I was like, wow. I wrote on mine, like on my own Facebook, like, hey, this happened. This person, like, what, is this crazy or what? And then I got attacked, and it was like called like an anti-feminist and all this. Like,
man.
Oh, wow.
Of telling a pretty girl she should be smiling. And I said, no, actually, that was Paul McCartney and John Lennon's like response when they were asked. They would always say Mick Jagger or, Keith Richards.
Right.
Yeah. So if she was a real Beatle freak, she would have gotten that like meta joke.
Right.
But like they were like, she like crucified me, and she was writing to people, look at this asshole, look what he said. I'm like, I said Keith Richards.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Oh,
wow. Yeah. They're just ready to pounce on people, If you make the wrong move, it's like you got to live by all these rules, and now there's this like pseudo blocking, like, just so you know, I'm gonna block you if you do, if you do, or if you do, I'm gonna block you, and I just blocked someone today. Ugh. And it's like,
oh man,
years are back at the world,
That's a whole thing right there. That's a huge problem that we're having right now, because it's everywhere, and it doesn't let people talk. People can't talk freely because you're worried about this, like the internet, the mob coming after you, Well,
part of that is that, when you text somebody and you're talking to them, you there's no way to know how they meant for you to take whatever it was they said. Like,
oh yeah,
for example, you and I could be talking online, and I could say, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
And because I'm talking to you right now and you hear me laughing, that I'm kidding. But if I type that, you have no idea if I'm serious or not.
For example, a great example. If I were to say Mr. Deadman went to Walmart today and kicked a large fat woman, 300 pounds, out of her rascal scooter into the soda wall, that would sound horrible, right? That sounds horrible. Like, why would I be saying that? Now, if you read that on paper, if you read that on the screen without my voice or without my tone, obviously a joke, it sounds like even worse, or it sounds like however you want it to be, Which,
it's left up to interpretation, and that is a big problem.
Yeah.
By the way, I know the weekend was bloody. The mass shooting was horrible.
Yes.
But there is one piece of news that's floating around on YouTube that kind of helps, I don't know, laugh at something. It kind of helps the situation. But it helps us a little bit. It gives us something to laugh at. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think I have a feeling.
Logan Paul.
I think you do too.
Logan Paul, the Wonder Bread of YouTube.
Oh, God.
I want to know if his brains are in his balls.
They're probably be kicked around at this point.
Judging from some of the clips I've seen, I would say that's a very safe bet that they're in there. Especially the age and that lost look in his eyes all the time. Yeah, I think his brain's elsewhere.
Why? I mean, okay. Guess what? I'm going to decide that I want to box a UFC fighter. Me. Now, how funny is that?
Hey, Becky, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it, Becky.
Stupid.
Becky, go ahead and do it.
I'm going to kick you.
No. Don't. Before you kick me.
Are you paying for my burial?
No, but I could be one of the fighters. Kind of like, or I could be your trainer. This is perfect. This sounds great.
Do I get to use the taser?
No. Okay, I'll trade. No. Well, this is Mortal Kombat now. You can't just bring weapons in the mix.
Oh, you bet your ass I can.
Okay, well, just Mortal Kombat it would bring weapons. But who could your opponent be? It has to be another woman. It has to be. Let's do.
Why does it have to be a woman?
Like woman on woman fight. Like a cat fight or something. It's just
Hillary.
No. That would just be no. I don't want to kick her and lose my foot.
I was gonna offer Renee Miller.
Oh shit.
Oh my God, no.
She's gonna be on
We
Halloween.
like Renee.
We do. But
Beyonce? You're gonna fight Beyonce? Did I hear you're gonna fight Beyonce?
Yeah,
No.
Beyonce.
That'd be awesome.
So you're gonna fight Beyonce? Okay. See now. This sounds
okay.
good.
And
Let's
then the
make this
next thing I hear is what in bikinis in the mud, or in oil, or Jello, or
Becky, that's a good idea. In bikinis in the mud.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. That sounds like a good idea.
No,
You said it like a joke, but I'm taking it as why not? You know.
I think your Mortal Kombat death blow will be pulling her wig off.
Oh,
then she will shrink down to the size of like a ruler and will scream, "Help me, JC, help me!" Left holding
and then I could just shove a
see?
piece of Jello on her.
Right? Just a piece of Jello.
But if you're allowed to bring a taser, what would Beyonce bring into the mix?
I don't know, but it wouldn't make much matter now, would it?
No, I guess not. She'll have Jay-Z. You have to deal with that.
I'll zap her in them boobs, and that'll be the end of it.
Shit. But it is crazy, man. It's like why does someone who built their fame off of Vine and YouTube want to get into the octagon where losing not only means money down the drain, but all sorts of injuries? Like he's all like you said it really well, John. He has a dead-eyed stare. There's nothing in there.
He does.
I think he's looking for redemption because he knows that he probably feels like if I get beaten up publicly so bad, people will, think I'm okay again. Oh, it'll feel bad enough for me and give me like a clean start if somebody cleans my clock. I don't know.
Either that, or it's a way to still keep being in the spotlight.
Yeah,
it's not a real bright way to be in the spotlight, but
yeah,
to have your brain knocked into the side of your noggin. I mean, all it's going to do is take one punch, and didn't you tell me that Joe Rogan says that he thinks he can throw a punch?
Yeah.
Okay, has Joe been in your $10 whiskey?
He might be. That dude smoking weed all the time. Who knows? But Dana White was like, "What? No, it's not going to happen. I should go to jail if it happens."
Right.
But
well,
I mean, he doesn't want he doesn't want the guy dead.
I mean, old school UFC wouldn't matter, but new mainstream UFC, they care.
Right.
Yeah, and he could definitely get hurt big time with those dudes, even accidentally.
Right.
I mean, it's not like, we're not talking like Macho Man and stuff where you're watching the pulled punches. We're talking like serious, like kabooey there,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a real term, kabooey, but
Yeah,
it is now.
Good. But we're probably going to find out that kabooey is actually a racist term. So
oh God!
Don't worry. You tell them that I said it. You tell them that no.
Okay.
Listen to it again. Mr. Deadman said it.
Okay.
I'll be the lightning rod for that. That's okay.
Okay. We could do a kabooey anthology or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do an anthology in response.
What does it mean? It's all open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh, speaking of crazy things, I understand that if we get 1,000 submissions, that you're going to snort cinnamon.
Yeah.
How many?
No. You can't snort cinnamon. You'll die.
I don't think you'll die. Will you die?
I don't. Well, it depends how much, what grade. Like any good upper, I guess.
Oh shit!
I mean, if we cut it with enough, sugar in the raw that we steal from Starbucks, maybe it'll be okay. Hey, we all do it, okay?
So if I'm getting my supply,
$3.
all right. So I'm following you. So if I get my supply from from Walmart, I should be okay, right? Because I mean, it's not gonna be fine quality. It's gonna be kind of like mixed in with some other ingredients.
Some rat poison and some flour.
That's hit or miss. I would definitely maybe go to the 99-cent store to get it just to be safe.
Right.
Ooh, man.
Or order it from Amazon.
Oh shit! Get it delivered by a drone, by Amazon drone. That'd be great.
Ooh.
Yeah, get it all fancy.
Well, hell, let's just fly it in.
Hell yeah.
Amazon.eats.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want a high-end grade
I just
cinnamon.
need to. Did y'all hear this? Did y'all hear this growling in the background here?
Who's growling? Is it your brother?
Well, he's not growling, he's snoring.
You need to zap him. Oh, ladies, gentlemen, I heard a rumor that if you paid $10, Becky will zap her brother with a taser.
While he's asleep.
This is my brother who posts all the spider memes and pictures and tags me all over Facebook. Mean ass.
Oof.
Because he knows I'm terrified of him. He does this all day long.
I bet he does.
Wow.
You gotta just zap
so
him.
mean.
You should totally zap him.
Tell him you thought he was a spider.
Yeah.
There was a spider on you, I swear.
That's what you made you amplified my fear.
It was on you, and I was afraid it was gonna kill you. And yeah, so I got the taser out of the safe and snuck back in, and it was on your forehead.
That's a good story.
This is now a premeditation, isn't it?
Well, we're just going through some ideas, with some hypotheticals.
Yeah, it's for a story, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories and writers, John.
Mm-hmm.
So, man,
Yep.
How does it feel? You are a Bram Stoker Award-winning author.
Oh,
You have
wow.
a number of short stories in various publications, from Lovecraft eZine to let's just name the best one, Deadman's Tome. The best anthology you've ever been in, Monsters Exist.
They do.
I mean, that's it. In a career, boom. You don't have to go anywhere else. You're gonna live. No.
That is just the pinnacle, and that's the one that the real fans go for.
Oh yeah.
That's like the fans' favorite track.
No, but seriously
though,
yeah, it's your story in there was great. Yeah, but how does it feel? How does it feel?
Honestly, I put a cloak over the Stoker, and like not like an invisibility cloak or anything from Harry Potter, but I put stuff. I hid it, and I took all the anthologies I was in and that were on my shelf, and I boxed them up because I didn't want to look at it anymore, because it felt kind of like a curse, and a strange story. Like when 2 weeks after I got Stoker, my dad died, and
man.
ever since it just felt like kind of like, yay. And then there was like a lot of weird things that happened. So I'm kind of like, yo, this is like Haunting of Hill House and shit. This thing, it really is. It's actually based on the fall of the House of Usher. And I'm like, I think this thing might be cursed for real. Like you get it, and then they start messing with your life in real life. But no, in all seriousness, it is awesome. But yeah, I try not to think about anything like that too much when I'm writing. I try to just, get into the zone and get back into the story, and because I think that's what brought everybody into this. It's like we just love telling stories, and like Becky, you were saying like before, like these characters that are alive in your head, they're like so present in your life. They're almost like ghosts and phantoms in your own imagination. Right. And I think that's kind of like really like my addiction is like these things come into my head. Like I was telling my son the other night, he was asking me, he was reading one of my things. He's like, where do you think of this stuff? I'm like, honestly, a lot of this just comes in a dream, like fully formed, and then they're there. Like the guys and the gals in my first book, Nerves, they're still around in my head. Like sometimes I'm doing stuff and I still hear their voices. I still have stories in that they're very real people to me. I mean, they used to like your brain this, but now they give us like a little bit of money once in a while for it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense, amazing. Though. How the characters are still in your head, and like you still kind of visit them and kind of hear, I guess, probably different stories or variations of the story that just haven't been told yet.
I would think so.
You definitely.
I mean, you spend so much time with them, they become very real to you, and they become your friends, or are part of your family almost, and I think that's when you know that you have a really real story that people are going to love, is when your characters are like that. And that's
true.
That's when when I'm reading a story and that happens to me, that's what I love about reading. That's the books that I crave and the stories that I crave to read. That, when you find them, you're just like, oh my God.
Right? And I mean, I don't know about you, but, a lot of folks ask me and they go, go into your ear, they'll say like, why do you think that, 50 Shades of Grey is so popular?
Okay.
J.K. Rowling or Stephen King, oh my God, fucking hack. Or Brian Keene is da-da-da-da-da. And I always come back and say, you know what? It has nothing to do with the music or their prose. It has everything to do with that voice.
Right.
That's a good way to put that.
If you sit with a Brian Keene book, man, you know you're with him.
Right.
Like his voice. You like the way it's like he's your Uncle Brian telling you a story about that time the fucking ghouls came and almost kidnapped him and his friends when they were 13. Or any number of stories. I mean, same with J.K. Rowling. Oh, other people done it in 50 Shades of Grey. Oh, it's terribly written and stuff. But for some reason, that author's voice connected, telling that in that style.
Yeah.
And that's all you need, man.
True.
I mean,
that's
look. I think that's how I see it.
Well, a lot of that is also.
It's like that. It's like that for me. Yeah. And when I read like Ray Garton, is one that really does that for me because he writes. Just like I want to read Glenn that we had on the show the other night, Glenn Ross.
Yes.
He is like that too. And Chad. Oh man. I mean, those
Chad
guys.
Witzke?
Yes, sir. Yes,
anytime they ask me, hey Becky, you want to read something and review it, or will you read this and tell me what you think? I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like,
nice.
Send it to me. You don't even have to ask anymore. And that's what I told Glenn the other day. I was like, just send it. You don't even have to ask. And he was like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, cool.
Yeah, I said the same thing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Will you read my book? Don't ask, just send it, Glenn.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have an open invitation anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the great joy of this is it gets in your head more than almost any other medium, and for a prolonged amount of time. Well, Jesse, Deadman, you were going to say something, right?
Yeah, I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I was going to say that a lot of that, what you were saying earlier, is like with writers and authors that are jealous of someone else's fame, someone else's fortune, their success. Be like, oh, well, 50 Shades of Grey is successful, but it's crap. J.K. Rowling's successful, but she's crap. She's overrated. Stephen King's overrated. They'll say that about anybody,
Right.
Yeah.
It's just... Okay, well, then you do it. You do it. Oh, it's not going to work for me because the market's too saturated or because because no one, because this or that. They come up with reasons. They just, no one reads anymore.
I'm a new writer. Nobody knows who I am.
Yeah. I think that's in any medium of artistic expression that happens. I mean, if you think of music and like, rock and roll and stuff, hey man, Chuck Berry, still everybody, he's very simple, but man, he's great. Or if we do a newer band, like everyone, I remember when Nirvana came out, everyone said, oh, it's so simple. And those guys can't play that good. They don't play as good as Steve Vai or Malmsteen.
Yeah.
And I love Brian Malmsteen, but man, when Kurt Cobain opened his mouth, a generation freaking felt it.
Yeah.
And that was it, man. It was the I want to hold your hand. And, it's something that, it didn't matter how good or bad.
Shit. And then the examples continue going on. He mentioned like a band like Korn too. It's like, oh my God, they really don't know how to play their instruments.
Yeah.
Right, but they learn.
That voice just transcends, I mean, it just...
Jonathan Davis is amazing, man.
Yeah,
what
he
channels, man. He takes that primal band behind him and they just go into some weird, like spooky, supernatural, amazing territory.
Yeah.
I mean, first time I heard Freak on a Leash in that breakdown, I was like, what the fuck, man?
Same here.
Where did this come from?
And people rip on them for, like I said, I already said the joke, not knowing how to play their instruments, which is kind of weird because if you play the tabs or play the guitar tracks by themselves, they sound weird. They're like, what is this? What is this? Like, this isn't something I want to really play acoustically. What is this? But all comes together. They somehow know how to make it work. They, they play off each other. They get that. What do you call it? They just get that chemistry. They make it work together, and they connected with an audience.
They meshed well.
Mesh well. That's right. That's what I'm looking for. And they connect to an audience, and the audience grew up listening to them. Easy.
Yeah.
So
anybody can play a solo track, but when you get a group of like 4 or 5 people together and they have to, learn how to play and mesh together, that's not easy.
No, it's not. And
I mean, I played a piano and I played accompaniment for people before, and when people think that singers sing to the music, you play to what the singer's singing. That's not easy. You have to follow them.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's almost different every time, just a little bit. I mean, But
absolutely.
I don't know, Becky. You gotta be singing to my guitar or my bass. You gotta be singing to me. I'm just messing up.
Honey, you do not want me to sing to you.
Probably not. I'll need to fix my ears.
No, I know not, because Xena and I sang to James one night on the radio show, and he made us promise we would never do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's keep that promise. Let's keep that promise with James.
Absolutely.
Oh.
It was bad.
So what I was going to say is, so here we have John. And John, you are a member of the Horror Writers Association, right?
I'm not only a member, I'm the vice president.
Look at that. Look at that.
It's
Look
true. Guilty. Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah, right. Yes, absolutely you are. And, it's a fine organization of men and women all plying the same trade. No, my whole thing as an artist is being able to give back to others. Seriously, I know that's really cornball and nerdy, but it's also one of the things that keeps me on my toes and keeps me connected is to be able to help others and to see new people in. Because I was that guy like 12, 13 years ago. I remember flying to freaking Toronto, where I had no money. Like this long-haired like freak with like no money, and I somehow found money to go to Toronto, go to this World Horror Convention, because man, I wanted to be a writer and get published and stuff. And I didn't know what the hell. It was just like right before the internet broke big with all this. And I remember getting up there, and there was like these old guys with like long jackets and long white hair, and they would standing in circles all night talking and laughing. And I'd be like, yeah, I like Clive Barker, and it's like the room would stop. And then they would like close ranks, and then they would just start talking again. So I remember how it felt to like go to those things, and I'm like, man, that sucked, And I saw a couple other young guys. There's only a couple of young folks there at the time, and it was Michael Louis Cavillo and Ben Etheridge and their wives and me. Mm-hmm. And Michael unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but I remember sitting on the couch looking at all these old guys, and we were calling them the HWA ancients, And they're like, man, one day we're going to be up there. We're not going to treat people like that. We're going to fucking be cool and like open it up and not be like this like old man's club. And we're going to be like, there's so many voices that need to be heard. And man, what we went through to get here, and we're not getting anything out of it. We're not going to do that to anybody.
You were
HWA gives a chance to do that.
Like the Jack Frost of the horror world. Mm-hmm. Or Jack Frost, Deacon. Isn't it? I can't even get my reference right. I was going with Blade. Frost. His name was Frost. What was his first name?
I'm thinking of like he thinks I'm a snowman. Is this Frozen?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
With John Palisano. I'm like, Jesus. Okay, if we have to, but cool.
I'm sorry. It was that bump of cinnamon I took earlier. It just scrambled my brain. Oh. Yeah.
Hey man, now we're talking about bumps of snow, so I think we're getting somewhere. Wait, did I say that out loud?
No, I didn't hear anything.
No, I didn't hear that at all. That was like clearly came out of Becky's mouth.
Oh yeah.
I'll take one for the team. Okay, I did it.
But as vice president of the Horror Writers Association, and as someone who has been writing for as long as you have, I mean, I'm sure you have seen plenty of newcomers come and ask for advice, and maybe felt overwhelmed by the saturation of the market, and just what to do, like how to keep on going. Like, what would you say to all that?
Well, the first two things that the same advice that's been true for hundreds of years stays true now, which is read a lot and write a lot more than anything, and read outside of what you normally like to read. And I think that right there is the key to really getting through all of this stuff. And as far as, there's a ton of noise, but you just have to be smart about it. There's been ways to be distracted forever, I mean, if you think of Percy Shelley and Mary Wollstonecraft and everybody sitting around that lake, I mean, one of the things they were saying is, we have so many distractions here, And you're like, what? You're sitting around a lake. It's like 1785 or something. What could you be distracted with? Like, what, a bird was that fascinating, It's like, Jesus, really? So, I mean, even back then, that impulse is like, we can go wander in the woods, or we should work on our books. It's like, I guess we can go wandering on the internet or work on our books, or, watch, binge watch whatever latest thing is going on. But I find that the technology has also made it easier if you focus. Like, the smartphone has saved my hide, because we can write in nicely formatted text on our smartphones on our lunch breaks and 10 minutes before work, or we can, go in the bathroom for 10 minutes if we need a break. And if you focus, you can do that instead of, Googling pictures of David Lee Roth or something, whatever people do. You could take your smartphone and, you can be productive, even if it's just free writing or something. Take that 5 or 10 minutes to yourself every day, and it adds up really fast. That's what I recommend people.
I mean, that's a good point. Stay on focus. Stay on focus on your craft, on the work.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then it's just not going to get done. Now, what about for those that, let's say, they feel when they put in their time? They're putting in their time. They have a novel out. Maybe they have a few short stories out. But it's just like, I don't know. Maybe they feel overwhelmed because of it's just not going the way they want. It's not success. It's not coming the way they want it to be. They're not making money, is what I'm getting at. They're not making money. That's usually what it boils down to.
Honestly, I think a lot of that, it's a real roulette wheel, when you're in the arts, because you just never know what's going to connect with people. And, I've seen people, overnight successes, quote unquote, getting their breaks, and other people that probably should have gotten them that don't. And there's so much luck involved, and somebody just has to kind of, in a way, like your stuff enough to push it. The right people, like an Ellen Datlow, has to say, I really like this person's work a lot. I'm going to continually buy their stuff. And I mean, that's, you kind of have to be lucky in that regard. If you don't have that luck, you got to go find a way to make it, like you're doing with, the whole Deadman's, world you're creating. It's like Jurassic World, but like with a lot more visceral stuff.
Right. I like that comparison. I never heard that. That's like Jurassic World, but with a... Oh, wait a second. If it's like Jurassic World, then...
with the whole...
I'm not Jeff Goldblum, am I? I think I had it.
No, I wouldn't put you as the Goldblum. I'd probably put you as the other dude, the Sam Neill guy.
Oh, okay.
This is cool. You guys are a bunch of maroons, but I'll go because I need the money. But I really would rather just be frickin' in the desert,
Yeah.
Getting these things up. But we have to jump out of planes. I'll do it for the money.
I think it would be like the insane doctor. Sorry.
Well.
The John Hammond.
Yeah. And I get to be a velociraptor? Is this what this is?
No, you get to be the...
I wasn't...
You could be.
Very clever girl. Or what is it? They say clever.
Clever.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We're going into crazy places here, huh?
We always do.
That's what the show is. That's what the show is, man. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's kind of hit and miss. There's been plenty of people on this show that can tell success stories, and there's people who can't. There's people that I worked with before back in, let's say, 2006, 2008. They've been on the show, and our conversation, and it was live, they're kind of done. They're kind of feeling like they're in a rut. And, you know, that's kind of a sad conversation, but it's it does paint a picture that it kind of comes in waves, and it could happen. You just have to find a way to overcome it if it's something you really want to do. If it's not, then, well, I mean, I guess you find your own way, find something new to do. But I kind of feel like if you want to write, if there's something you want to write, like a voice that you have, a story you want to tell it. You know, just tell it. If you feel like you're done, then I guess you're done.
Well, you know, I'd like to give you some anecdotes that I learned when I started in the film industry. That I learned early on, which were really helpful to me, that get me through. Because look, you know, we all go through those ups and downs as writers. We have like I think a couple of years ago, I think I sold literally 16 short stories in 1 year at pro rates. This year I sold one. Next year, who knows? You just never know. But when I remember I got off, you know, the bus, and I was working with Ridley Scott, the director, and at the time he was about to lose his whole shingle. He's going to lose the place and everything, with his production offices and everything. And he's like, we were developing a I Am Legend remake at the time with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Whoa, pause. That's when he was going to lose his stuff? Ridley Scott was going to lose his stuff during that? I thought he would be established already. Oh,
isn't it funny? Right? So we're sitting there and we're developing this beautiful movie, and Arnold's playing Arnold, basically, because who else is going to survive this but this guy who knows how to shoot machine guns, drives Humvees, has a freaking armored fortress for a house with all kinds of escape routes and safe rooms and everything, while these like weird, Hassian, completely different zombies come. And Universal came. I was, you know, we all saw the stuff that came down. They said, well, you know, Ridley, you haven't had a hit since we don't know when. Everything you're making is a bomb. You know, you make this movie, White Squall. It was a bomb. It cost us all this money, and you're just blowing all this money. And we can't do this picture. You know, Arnold wants $35 million. You want $65 million to do this thing. We can't do this thing, right? We're gonna cancel the picture, right? And we're all like, holy shit, right? That life's gonna be over. And Ridley's like, okay, you know, what are we going to do now? He gets on the phone. Rather than conceding, he gets on the phone and he says, okay, you know, who can get us something going so we can at least shoot something? Because he also was really smart, and I think publishers need to do this too. He, at the same time he was doing feature films, which is kind of like a novelist doing a novel, he also is running his commercial and music video divisions with other directors under him, and he's taking cuts of all this, which is really keeping the bread and butter flowing.
Okay.
Which is really smart, which is kind of like what you're doing.
Wait, with what?
Well, you know, having like a diversified kind of output that you're putting out, magazines and sites and different kinds of products.
Okay, yeah.
Rather than just saying, I'm just not going to do anything.
I thought maybe you found about what I do on the side, like the I don't know about you. I don't know if you write some side genres.
Lawyer.
No, not that. My lawyer's looking at me.
Oh.
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like writing some stuff, writing some stories in some genres that we may or may not want to talk about, you know, except for let's put adults.
Oh, the erotica.
Oh, just come out and say it.
Well, I did.
Well, you know, I may or may not.
It's not like I haven't written it.
Some cash comes in, you know, from that. It's not what I want to do, but it's what people want to read, apparently.
Well,
I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever works.
I guess so.
You know, I think.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, all I was going to say is I think there's something for just being persistent and not letting those setbacks stop you, because they can and they will. If you let yourself get depressed, and you can go into that, you know, self-depreciating spiral really easy. And you can make money writing in other ways that really actually inform your main writing habit, like, you know, you were just saying. A lot of folks I know don't want to get into nonfiction, but there's some serious cash to be made for very little work, and your name gets all over the place. I've had a lot of folks. I'm surprised a lot of people don't ask me about my nonfiction stuff more because
That's something I was going to ask you about, John. Oh.
Okay.
Because I saw some stuff about Fangoria. Man, well, I'll just say it. I mean, when you interviewed Corey Taylor, of all people.
Yeah.
The front man of Slipknot.
Holy balls.
What was that like?
Really?
Yes. I loved him. I honestly hadn't heard Slipknot at that time, believe it or not.
Oh my God.
So they just gave me a list of people to talk to because I was assigned to I was assigned to this movie called, oh God, what's the name of it? It was just some like direct to DVD video or something. But it had Robert Englund in it as the star, and it had Corey in his first role, and it had Danielle Harris, who was in one of the Halloweens, and some other like semi-notable horror people. And I talked to him, and Kiss the night before had gotten into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we started talking about that. I don't know how we started talking about Kiss, but we were just cracking up, and we were doing Kiss impressions, like, Paul Stanley with the acceptance speech and everything. And then he's like, "Oh crap! I only got 5 minutes left of the interview." So I thought he was he's just so very down to earth and cool and normal. And then I said, I'm gonna go listen to Slipknot and check them out. And I'm like, "Oh, this is cool! I'm so happy I got a chance to talk to that dude."
Yeah.
Because I had no idea. It was weird.
It's kind of like me interviewing Graham. That's about like the story I told you about him.
Which Graham?
Graham Masterson. When I did an interview for my blog with him, and I had no clue who he was.
Right.
I mean, I knew he was a writer, and he just talked to me, and we talked and whatever. And then a friend of mine asked me, "Who's your interview with?" And I said, "Graham Masterson." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "Graham Masterson." He was like, "No way." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Look him up." And I did, and I was like, "Oh my God."
Right.
So then,
right.
It was so cool. But
and I think, honestly, I think not getting your nonfiction chops together is one of the best things a fiction writer can do, because you get to really interface with some amazing people, and you get to learn just how human they are, and they're still worried about the next gig too, just like you and I. They're still like, crap. I don't know, my last Hellraiser book was kind of didn't go well. And I don't know if I should ever write again. You really, Clark? It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it after that reception. And you're like, dude, you're Clive Barker. I don't know about that. It's like, wow, okay, even like guys like that, or, at that level, they still have that whole like artistic kind of like, funk.
Yeah.
Talking about.
I have one that sends me stuff every once in a while, and will say, read this and tell me if it's shit. And I'm like, but you're,
Yeah.
You could write the phone book and it wouldn't be shit. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably like how somebody's the real genuine deal, is because they're always striving. They always want to deliver the best they can deliver, and they always want to, be in that current, I think, that pulse. They want to be tapped into it always.
Right. They always want to be better, always want to learn, never stop. And that just floors me.
Yep. And the other good thing with nonfiction is it usually pays, and they need writers all the time. I don't know how many people I have sent to like nonfiction sites. They're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, dude, this is like for a while, Blumhouse.com was open. I'm like, everybody they should have like 300 submissions right now, like people wanting to write for them, and they got like 4. I'm like, really?
Wow.
No, when you do nonfiction
so how did
work,
you get
fiction, they're like, I just want to write fiction. I'm like, yeah, but this is like, you could write 1 page of something and you're going to get $300. You can knock it out in an hour, dude.
What?
And your freaking name is on Blumhouse.com.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But that's the kind of the mentality. It's like, I'm a writer. I don't do that. I just do novels. It's like, well, okay, but.
Do your novels and not get paid then? I guess $300 for 1 page. 1 page of what? Like an interview or like
500 words or 1,000 words? Well, they were taking pitches, so people like the one I sent that they took was non-linear storytelling in video games, And it was something that, I cranked it out in like literally an hour. And it was just kind of like, hey, in Five Nights at Freddy's and all these new horror games, they're telling 3-act structure, but it's fractured and you got to go to different websites and it's pretty cool. And here's a link. And, this is how this was done. And this is, the portal, how they did it, yada, yada.
Oh,
and then,
man. That sounds like the amount of time I put into a blog entry whenever I do one, if I ever do.
Mm-hmm.
And you got paid for that.
Yeah. And multiple, there's multiple markets like that. Dark Discoveries was going for a while. I don't know if Blumhouse is probably closed now, but they'll open up again. Keep looking on their site. Fangoria, of course, now is going to need tons of content.
Now,
13th floor.
I've been noticing the way journalism has been going, especially for like websites. It gets even more clickbaity and looking for the next thing to be outraged about. So, should someone submit like top 5 racist horror movies to like BuzzFeed or something? Is that gonna be?
Oh God,
dude, that's your if that's how you want to be notorious.
Top
then
5, top 5 racist.
Oh, I know somebody that would do that.
Honestly, dude, if you wrote that article, I think every single person would crack up. Then they would get serious, then they would crack up again and read it, and then there would be freaking comments until Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I wrote it, they would know I'm just joking around. But if someone else wrote it, come on. I mean,
you are not putting my name on that.
I need to create a new name. I need to get
a pen name.
Yeah. Totally Serious. That's the name. Totally Serious. Just a pen name.
I think it has to start with an initial with a period and then whatever else.
Yeah.
They always have like L. William Blake or so. That's a real one, but
R. Weed.
R. Weed.
Richard Weed.
Richard
we'll call you Dick Weed.
Look at that. Dick Weed.
I'm kidding.
Hey man, do it. Use an anagram. You know what I mean? Like switch those letters up, and man, go for it. Because there are some decent paintings, man. Like Fango. One article was $250. One was $400. And here's quote unquote what the article was like a paragraph of me introducing interviews.
Wow. See, that's
so I would call
too.
up, I would get to talk to Robert Englund and then transcribe it and send it in, and it begins like, hey, they've got a new movie out. It's called Ding Dong's Ding Dong, and it's shot in, Shreveport for 3 months, and everybody got bloody. Here's what Bob Englund said. And then you transcribe the interview and you send it in, and then like 3 days later, I'm like, oh, check out my PayPal. Woohoo!
It's so, like, listening to this, it sounds so easy, but then I'm like, are people not aware of how accessible it is? I mean, is it a more competitive market?
Not necessarily. I think it's actually less competitive because a lot of people aren't doing it. And they're not taking these opportunities. Some people are. And I know at the moment Fangoria is getting slammed up the gazoo because they're brand new and fresh again. Mm-hmm. But right before when I went on, they couldn't keep writers on staff. Because everybody wanted to leave and go write the great American novel. And I'm like, what, can't do both? Because this doesn't really take a whole hell of a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a big deal. I mean, this is great. And I get to talk to all these awesome people. And then I'm psyched. I'm like, I just talked to Freddy Krueger for 90 minutes. Cool. I really want to write my own book right now. I feel pretty awesome about things. Do you know what I mean? I
might need to write some nonfiction stuff to keep the lights on the Deadman's Tome. That'd be interesting.
The hardest part, honestly, is the first few getting ones in notable places is the first hard. If you don't have anything, it's hard to get that first foot in. But once you have something in like Famous Monsters or Fango or Dark Discoveries or something, usually you could say, hey, I just published this in Dark Discoveries. It was an interview with you just said Richard Graham Masterson. I interviewed Graham Masterson. Here's a link to that. Mm-hmm. Hey, I see that whatever, Joe Hill's going to be in my neighborhood. I want to go talk to him about his new book. You want to run the article? That's how you do it. And look in your local. Where are you guys right now? Well, like what towns?
I'm in Southern Indiana, but I'm Louisville.
You're in Houston?
Kentucky.
Yeah,
in Kentucky.
I'm in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and guess what? It doesn't matter because everything's on the internet anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I figured that would be the follow-up.
Trick question. But, seriously, like there's everybody I was interviewing. I'm like, hey, I'm like 2 blocks from you. Oh no, we'll just do it. We'll just do it online, dude. You know? Let's just do it online, man.
It's crazy, isn't it?
You know, if I have to pee or something, I can just pee and still talk to you. I'm like, oh, okay. You know? It's like, oh, cool with me, man, because it's easier for me, you know? So that means, like you can use all your...
just disappears for a few seconds.
Yeah, and you're just...
hand Becky the will.
Yeah.
Chop.
Which is always frightening.
I'm like, here you go, Becky. You got it. You're not gonna crash it. You got it.
He comes back talking all fast, like the guy that was trying to talk Hans into letting all the hostages go and Die Hard.
Yeah, we know he's been in the cinnamon again.
That'd be fun though.
Oh,
the cinnamon challenge. I want that to happen. 1K subs, guys. 1K subs. I will seriously snort a line of cinnamon.
No.
Cinnamon. For YouTube purposes, it's cinnamon.
Not.
Let's talk about cinnamon. It's a cinnamon challenge, Becky.
No.
Cinnamon challenge.
No. Okay, look. I'm looking this up online. Can you safely...
Can you snort cinnamon?
You
could snort all sorts of shit in your nose. You could literally snort shit up your nose if you wanted to. I'm not doing that. That's crazy.
Gross.
I'm not gonna do that, Becky.
It can lead to respiratory, cardiac, and nerve damage.
Okay. It could. It could. What's the chance? It's not like I'm... Would you rather...
You'd be better off... Oh, hey, I got one for you. How about snort a condom?
I'm not doing that. That's stupid.
Have you seen them do that? They snort a condom up their nose and spit it out their mouth.
I'm not doing that. I'm not. No.
That's like sword swallowers and freak show stuff.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
They slowly widen their sinus canals with like coat hangers and stuff to get that going.
No.
Like Jim Rose Circus Sideshow.
Yeah. Speaking of crazy
Put a
fiction,
snake up your nose.
Speaking of crazy fiction that'll never happen, let's talk about one of your stories. What were you telling us about earlier at the beginning of the show about this Marilyn Monroe as a secret government agent?
Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah, what's this story? What's the name of the story?
The story's called The Prince of Darkness and the Showgirl, which is a play on her movie The Prince and the Showgirl.
Okay, now is the Prince of Darkness JFK?
No, it's actually a third-tier demon named Vanek, who is a chaos demon who likes to start wars for no reason other than he likes human suffering and death. And he also likes to mess with people trying to stop with him, like he collapses one of her lovers in half.
Yeah.
Which anthology was this in?
It's in one called Fantastic Tales. It just came out from Crystal Lake Publishing with Eugene Johnson and Joe Meinhardt were the editors on that, and that was a fun one. There's a lot of fun stuff in that book too. Like there's like Bubba Hotep, but there's like a lot of it's all famous stories of famous people and incidences that actually had a supernatural or horror kind of story behind them that nobody knew before.
That's
so it's cool. It's kind of interesting. I was like, wow, this is I never tried anything like that. So, I love Marilyn because she, I was fascinated. I watched some of her movies with my mom, and my mom said, you got to read her biography. I'm like, why? And she's no, read it. And I read it, and she's wicked smart, and she was a real reader. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait a minute here. She's not this dumb blonde like she's coming out, She's like wicked smart. She knew what she was doing. She's playing the world like a fiddle.
Exactly.
And she's like, yep. She's like, and I'm going to go to the library, buy idiots. Thanks for the $1 million. I'm like, I like her.
Yep.
She's cool, man. She's way cooler than I thought. She's not like some dummy, just jumping on the beach or whatever. And I was always fascinated by that duality in her, and I thought, wow, that would be such a great character to know, to kind of explore, like, what if it even went a step further, Because how would you sneak into these wars? You know, if you could get in there, they wouldn't even know. Like, I was like, why is she really doing those USO concerts? Oh, because there's a demon she needs to talk down. So that's where that came from.
And that's why she got all buddy with JFK. There's a demon. She needs to calm down.
Right. She had to take him down, get close. You know, keep your enemies close, whatever.
That's right.
Right.
He was talking him out of, hey, you need to pull the troops from Vietnam. Hey, pull out the troops. Right. The next thing you know, JFK is assassinated.
Yep.
Damn it.
That could be the sequel.
I was looking because I had to know, but I've got this book in my Kindle, so guess what I'm reading later.
Oh, the Fantastic Tales?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool. You're awesome.
Joe
Let me
sent it
know
to
about
me.
how horrible it is.
Oh.
See if you think it's a 1-star.
I'll tell you what I really think about it. You don't have to worry about that, but I'm sure it's not.
Diamonds are girls' best friend. Too bad the story isn't.
You're so bad.
I
doubt that.
That's what I like about John.
Joe sent
Joe
sent it to me and asked me to read it and review it. So.
Oh, cool. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I will often write bad reviews of my own books for fun. Myself up.
Well, like, I definitely won't. It's hard for me to be like, oh, five star this. It's what I've wrote. It's the best thing ever. It's like, I don't know. It's just I'm a pretty harsh critic of my own shit, of my own stuff. That makes sense, you know.
I think everybody that writes is.
They should be.
I think every point.
I had a couple of people that are like, I will not change a word. I am a genius. I'm like, this is your first
yeah, well, I know some of them
and
too.
change
But...
the character tense like 3 paragraphs, and I didn't mean to do that. Your mind is so small, because cool.
I'm writing a story with a friend of mine, and I just did that to him. He was writing in third person, and I started writing it, and I was writing in first person, and he messaged me when he got it. He goes, "Hey, what the hell?" I'm like, "Oh shit, send it back."
It happens. Phone rings. You switch tenses. What are you gonna do?
Well, I was just reading, and my mind just went, and I started writing, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think about it," you know.
Well, that's for the rewrite.
This is bringing me back to oddly enough, this brings me back to Monsters Exist. That anthology for Deadman's Tome was actually, I would think, a turning point for Deadman's Tome. And John was very, very nice to be a part of that, and he didn't ask for anything in return. So I was like, what's going on? Like, is this really happening?
Gee, man.
Is this real life?
You know?
And
yeah.
I was blown away. And the amount of people who came together for that, I don't think, honestly, I would love to do it again, but I don't think it really would. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it was a good project. It was great to work with all these people all together at once. And, well, I say work. It really, a lot of it was the editing, and a lot of that was really Teresa Brown.
All right.
Like she did most. Well, let's be blunt. She did all the editing pretty much. I mean, and of course you'd get the feedback. I'm not gonna say names, but people would be like, "Oh, she's doing this my story, this that my story." It's like, okay, then talk to her about it. Don't talk to me about it. Shit, I'm working a job over here too, bro. Talk to her about it. How about you do that? You know?
Hey, you know, that's an important lesson too, because, you know, we all have stuff to learn. I was putting together this Scales and Tales charity anthology 2 years ago, and there were some pretty big names in it, right? And I'll never forget, David Gerald sent in his story, and there was a miscommunication, and they told me it was a new story, right? Mm-hmm. So I edited this story, and I sent it back to him. Like, I don't know, the last 2 lines could probably be a little bit better. And he wrote me, and and then he saw me later, and he laughed. He wrote me, he's like, you know that story won like the World Fantasy and everything, right? John, I'm like, And he said, I thought it was really entertaining. He said, actually, I kind of agreed with some of the stuff you were, but it was, we laughed so hard because I was like, man, you just never know. He said, no, he said, I loved that, I'm David Gerald, Mr. Tribble. And, you were still like, yeah, we need this up a little. And I think every writer at every level, I love that go between an editor and myself, and because they catch things and they often have suggestions that we'll get stuff out that you didn't, because we all have that issue, like it's in my head, it didn't quite get there, and a really good editor is going to try and push you there in places if necessary.
Right.
And I think Teresa definitely did that. She caught some really great continuity things in my story, and some weird grammatical things, like some weird phrasings and stuff, and I think she also suggested. No, she did. She definitely suggested a new ending for me that I did for that, I think, too. If memory serves, I have to go back. But, I mean, who's immune to that? Nobody, I don't think. And I think some of our bigger authors definitely freaking need editors. Like, I love some of these. I don't want to say names, but... Yeah. But, I mean, we have, like, freaking 1,200 page books by these people, or like, as the Potter books got like freaking mammoth. They're like 3 books long in one book. It's like, and you're rating this. I'm like, I don't need a description of the pinka diddle doodle doodle thing in the fridge. God,
Right.
Well, my go-to on that is like, I used to read a lot of Anne Rice, and Anne Rice would go on and on about description, like purple prose out the ass. I mean,
dude, right.
Anne Rice is great, but purple prose out the ass. I'm sorry, Anne Rice.
Yeah.
But
I agree, man. I'll never forget that 3-page soliloquy on the history of one of Lestat's buttons, and I think it was in how it was manufactured and the metals it took, fucking how it was wrapped. I'm like, I want to fucking kill myself. Okay.
I think it was
right now.
That's when you start skipping lines and paragraphs and
Like, you guys might be immortal, but I'm fucking not, okay?
You got limited amount of time.
I'm gonna fucking die before this book's over, Anne.
Oh man.
But dude, honestly, I did read some of the calls, and like for the bathroom shit anthology, I was thinking for days, like trying to come up with things and scribbling ideas. And it just wouldn't come. Maybe I should have had more fiber. But
oh, you talking about the shit show? The shit
yeah,
show?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Damn it.
That was a crazy anthology idea. That was actually I took Gary Buller's idea. Gary Buller and I were joking around. He was like, "You should do an anthology called The Shit Show," and it's just like horrible shit stories. I'm like,
oh my God.
I was like, no one's gonna submit like a horrible story. I mean, people submit horrible stories all the time, but like purposeful blah. I can't say like wanting to
purposefully.
Write. Okay, yeah. I was like, let's just change it to just shit, like literally shit, and there you go, shit show, shit fest. We'll talk about shit, talk about turds, talk about singing turds that are flying and possessed and do all sorts of stuff. People drowning in their own shit. It's the highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it happens, man.
It's the one horror anthology that everyone can relate to, because everyone that's human and is honest has been in that moment when they had a decision to make.
Will I make it? Will my biological clock get me there this time, or will it fail me?
Yeah.
And what is the proper plural of anus? Is it ani or is it anuses? These are what we struggle with.
Yeah. Man, I like advertising that one. I think I had the most fun plugging Monsters Exist and Conspiracy Issue and The Shit Show. Those 3 were the most fun to plug. Conspiracy Issue, my computer was hacked, blue screens left and right, and vans outside my door. Monsters Exist. Oh yeah, I was going full Alex Jones in that one. I was like, man, the FBI has screened my emails. CIA is over here pumping chemicals in the ground, turning my dogs gay. I was going full Alex Jones.
Shut up.
Face.
That's so funny.
Well, my dogs are already gay, Becky. I was just, I don't know. Sorry.
Too much Xanadu when they were kids.
Yeah.
You had too much cinnamon.
Not enough.
You're making me cry. Stop
I
it.
need 1K subs. You see what happens when I do a whole line of cinnamon.
Oh my god.
Can do it like Stevie Nicks style. Have somebody blow it in your anus, and then it'd be like very meta. Like back to the Doodoo anthology, back to the cinnamon, back to the dogs, back to everything.
Oh, shit.
Are you volunteering for that position? Because I'm not doing it.
I don't know. The way, are you, John? Are you? The way the cinnamon fell to my nose, I don't want to feel that in my ass. So, gross. Guys.
Oh my god.
We need a. Sorry, we're reaching a gutter brain. We are far. We are out of the gutter. We're like in the sewer right now. We need to tone this down, okay? This is a family-friendly show.
So many bad comments are just swirling.
This is a family-friendly show, okay? This is mainstream horror, okay? That's what this podcast is about. Mainstream horror.
Like the Hulu category, spooky, not scary.
Yes, exactly.
Have you seen that this year? I'm like, what? Spooky, not scary?
What the hell?
Is that kind of like Uncle Matthias or something? I mean, what?
It must be.
What the heck?
You can't scare too much. You can't have too much fun on Halloween. Hell, this month, we practically did a
costumes.
show. Yeah, just costumes and decorations are too far, and people will arrest you for it or chastise you for it.
Oh yeah.
It's like you have a decoration, you throw a skeleton hanging from a tree. Oh no, take that down. That's racist. It's a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh.
How do you know what he looked like before this happened?
Yeah.
Just the Kardashians.
You put this,
how they look.
Like you go to one of those Halloween decoration places. You get the decoration that says like "Help me." It's all in blood. You put down in the window. Apparently, that led to some 911 calls in some neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It did. We talked about that. It was real.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was somebody even hung a real life person and left them in a tree for Halloween decoration. That's
pretty hardcore.
Is that like one of those things that didn't kill them, like the studios use, like the harnesses that look like they're hanging but they're not?
No, this was real. They was dead.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they were there for what was it, like 4 days or something?
Holy shit! Yeah, where was this?
Pretty hardcore.
It was in like Ohio or somewhere.
God, that's like a Neil Young song waiting to happen.
Right.
That's like our buddy Logan, whatever. That's why he got that infamy. What's his name?
Paul. Yeah, Logan Paul, when he went into the Suicide Force in Japan. Which even then, I was kind of like, honestly, knowing what I know of Logan Paul, I probably think he probably didn't know what the fuck was going on. He probably has like nothing going on in his brain. I was like, yeah, let's put a camera out here. Yeah. And then when he found it, it was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of fucked. Well, that's what we're gonna do with it. I don't know, because even as an American, thinking a suicide force in Japan, like, why? That sounds crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't sound like a good idea.
You know what? If we just maybe I don't know. I'll save that thought for another show. I'll save that thought.
Okay.
When you're not here, John, it's pretty crazy. It's crazy idea. Not that we need a suicide force here or anything like that. Okay. Hey, seriously though, let's talk about some more of your stories while we still have you.
Okay.
Which one do you want to go into? Like, which?
I want to know which one's your favorite.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, the changes of the current favorite I have is called Songs of the Cephalopod, and it's not been released yet. It will be out next year in Cemetery Dance.
Ooh.
It starts. It's one. It hit all the levels I like to hit in a story. It starts with a man and a woman on a beach that is slowly disappearing, and she's in one hut and he's in another, and there's no other people around, and they drive this dune buggy to the end of the beach, to the last beach house that exists still on the edge of this universe. And what's left of the ocean, there are strange cephalopods every night that come out and make music with their tentacles.
Nice.
And it's a really weird and spooky story. I don't want to reveal much more about where it goes from there, but from there it gets insane. It's just one of those like stories, like the metaphor, everything kind of worked.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the scariest things and most nihilistic things, but it's also one of the most beautiful stories that I've ever dreamt up. So that's my current favorite, Songs of the Cephalopod.
Songs of the Cephalopod. So you have like these cephalopod things coming out. They come out of the water and they sing like a mariachi.
Yeah, exactly. And they throw tequila shots and everyone goes.
Bring the people out to the beach. Be like, amor, whatever. Singing some Spanish. I don't know any Spanish. That's all I can say. And they come down and then...
You're a puta.
They kill them.
Jeffy says you're a puta.
They say...
Yeah.
You're a puta. We'll kill you now. And feast on their flesh and blood for sustenance. I like it. See, I just revealed the whole story.
Lord.
Yeah. The big twist is it's actually all Sammy Hagar's dream. But,
Oh, Lord.
Hey, you guys! Anyway. Hey, Dad, I got this dream about this. Sam, you're out of the band.
Hey,
what? Anyway.
I see that you had a story in Junk Merchants, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's actually, the Burroughs anthology, yeah.
Yeah, that one caught my eye because Alex S. Johnson did an intro there, and he was on the show before. I know he's kind of like he's in a rut. I know he doesn't really like to talk about it, but Alex, man, don't stop writing. Like,
good luck, man.
Right.
I mean, he
Flyer Burroughs high.
He wrote some, he writes some really crazy stuff. I mean, like, interesting. Like, oh my god, I can't remember the name. What was it? Something about teddy bear. The bear is possessed, and he's like this obnoxious character. But anyway, sorry.
Oh no, I agree. I'm a big fan. I think he's very creative and very subversive and very dark. And with that, I think also attends a little bit of that kind of can seep into your life too. Sometimes when you go in places, and he might be having some of that. I think he said something. He's having some small medical issues too. So hopefully, he can overcome all that and use it in the future for some more crazy stories. But yeah, that book, man, he invited me into that, and I'm like, Burroughs, freaking tribute, I'm there. Wow, what a freaking rich playground to play in. It's irresistible. So what I did was I did kind of a Burroughs thing, but it set it in rural Southern California, because I was like, in Junkie and Naked, all that, it's like very much like Minnesota and Tangier and stuff. I'm like, but this stuff, man, what if it was here in SoCal? Like, what if there were like freaking crazy space junkies in SoCal, And what, how would they do it? And I thought, well, they could just, they have like the roaches that they dry and then they chop up and snort. That are simply flavored. And they get really high and transport that way all over to different cities. Because, if you're ever out here, you see these weird people and you're like, that person may not be from this plane totally, because their physicality, they look like they just got to planet Earth from like some weird like cave world underneath us or something. Or maybe are they part bug? Like they're weird. You're like, I don't know. You go out to like Palmdale or stuff and I've never seen a human being walk like that ever. I've seen, a spider. Sorry, Becky. I've seen a spider walk, but I've never seen a person. So I kind of played with that, which was really fun. So yeah. And I think they're doing a I sent them something for the second one. I don't know where all that stands. It's a sequel to my first story. So I don't know where that is. I think Dean Dinkle from Drinkle from the UK has taken over editing. So I'm not sure where volume 2 is, but that would be cool.
Okay. All right. I have to ask you, like why horror?
Because it speaks to me. I have had really bad, awful, terrifying nightmares ever since I was a little child, and I found really early that drawing them out or writing them out was the best way to make them not come back again and again and again. And I've just always been fascinated by the dark stuff, and it just kind of speaks to me in a way, and it allows me to express myself in a way that no other genre does. And it lets me work out like anxieties and stresses and funks and all sorts of things. And it's just, I find it a very healthy and cathartic thing. I had an argument with my son's stepfather in the hospital a couple of years ago, and he pulls out all my son's drawings of like monsters and stuff. He's like, look, this isn't healthy. And da, da, da. I said, hey man, you think that I know a lot of people who write horror and ain't none of them freaking go out and kill people in real life. I was like, you think this Tim Burton going out and killing people?
Right.
Is Stephen King going out and killing people? He does it, and then he goes to freaking like Walmart, and buys freaking cassettes, or something, And it's a really hard argument to. I mean, there was one guy that made a graphic novel that actually killed a girl in real life recently, but that's like
Blake Leibel, whatever his last name is. Yeah,
right,
I did a little show on him. Yeah.
Hear that?
Shit, yeah.
That's fucked up, man. But
that's scary.
Yeah, but most of us, man, this is more of kind of like a way to play out feelings and anxieties and unrequited love and God knows what else. I mean, is that like it is for you? For you, Al?
Well, you know what? Like, not to, that's not like I guess stereotypical, whatever, but it is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like therapeutic. Like horror for me, the reason why I write what I write is because, well, I guess there's demons inside, they're just trying to come out. Been through horrible experiences and just trying to put it out there. But it kind of is that, It's just that's why kind of usually when I talk to people who write horror and dark fiction, it's kind of like, where does this inspiration come from? It's coming from something inside.
Right.
But, and of course, I found doing this show, a lot of people were like, no, these are just ideas I had. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
For me, it was kind of like fucked up things inside, though. Am I kind of weird? Am I kind of fucked up in the head? Because that's what it's like. It's like this character isn't just a character. He represents like something, a part of me that I didn't like. He did some things I didn't like to something else.
Yeah.
And it's like he's trying to get like, you could say, retribution or something. He's trying to, undo the wrongs that are impossible to undo because first of all, they're my wrongs. It's not, and it has nothing really to do with the character. I mean, to him it does, I guess, in the fiction. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think you can hit all those things too. And honestly, sometimes it's just fun. Who doesn't want to put on a Godzilla suit and destroy a model of Tokyo?
That is
who doesn't want
to
true. Jason mask freaking slash, the kids that made fun of him. I mean, some of it is just like pure, hey, this is just pure id and fun. There's that much that about it, but there is that can be that deep too. That's true. I think it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, it's that freedom of being able to say and do anything in the world you want to, and nobody can tell you no.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. You don't have bosses or parents or politicians or anybody telling you can't do anything, Right.
You can be as strange as you want to be, or,
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It all works out somehow.
It is
your world, and you make your world the way you want it.
It is interesting how like horror and sci-fi both share that thing where they're the two genres where they can really push boundaries to have people kind of face their fears of of one thing or the other, you know. And usually it's while some of them are just monster stories, sometimes it's kind of like it's more than just a monster. Like Dracula to me was more than just a monster. It was like, what if you could live forever and everything around you dies? What's the point of living? Like, I know like Dracula becomes all emo and like, ooh, poor me, everything dies around me, but I don't know, everything does die around him. So my version, well, the way I'm thinking, either he can go full American Psycho, Patrick Bateman, and just be like, fuck it, everything dies, I'm just gonna fucking kill it. Or he can just be human about it and, I don't know, feel sorry about it and feel something for it.
Right.
You know,
Right. And, you know, I don't know, you know, I think there's a lot to that too, because, you know, I think a lot of it's metaphor too, with horror, because, you know, at that time Dracula was being written, people were living a lot longer than ever, and they were experiencing that on a smaller scale. And I think they kind of just amplified that feeling, like, geez, I'm like 55, and, you know, I should have been dead at 35, you know, kind of a thing, you know. So it's kind of it's interesting, you know. They're just kind of amplifying those anxieties that they were feeling and their perspective in the world.
True.
You know, and
I think so.
You know, and you know, it's
you know,
crazy.
I wouldn't be, really, with the things that happen now in our world and our society, I wouldn't be surprised if they're man, it's okay. This kind of dovetails back to what we talked about when we opened up with the show. We're talking about the shooting, the mass shooting.
Right.
The scary thing about that for me isn't just the occurrence, how frequent that they happen, but people, especially the younger generations, like the kids, their perception of it. It's especially in school settings. It's kind of like it's expected. It's kind of they figured it was going to happen. It's like like a learned helplessness, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start expressing that in art, but it's going to be really hard for them to do so, because just about any sort of medium is going to, like, if someone sends in a story about a school shooting, who's going to publish that? I would. I
personally, I think they're doing it in different ways, and they're not doing it like as on the nose. Like if we look at zombies, you know, the history of zombies is a perfect mirror of our times. You know, it started. The first zombie films in the 50s and 60s were nuclear fear. And then the 60s continued that. And into the 70s, it was the fear of being lost. I'm just a consumer in Dawn of the Dead. And 80s, it was, you know, we're back to the Red Scare and invasion of aliens. And then in the 90s, we get like 28 Days Later, and we get Walking Dead, where the zombies are coming randomly from anywhere in broad daylight. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is freaking terrorism. This is freaking mass shootings. They're not having a kid in a cloak with a gun. They're having these zombies come in out of nowhere. Everyone's in class, and a zombie comes in, and everybody's infected.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. This is a freaking school shooting, but they can't do that, so they're using freaking the rage plague, you know, like 28 Days. I'm like, this is freaking where it's going, you know? This is brilliant. They may not even realize they did that, you know? Some scholar in 20 years is going to tell them they did that. But I think that's how a lot of folks are expressing it. And that's the beauty of it. Because you can use a zombie or a vampire in place, you know, and it's cool instead of just like, oh God, I don't want to watch 9/11, but I will watch Cloverfield, where the monster does what knocks the building down and everybody's running in ash, covered in ash. Yeah. But, you know, the Cloverfield monster was frickin' 9/11, you know? If you watch that movie again, you go, oh my God, you know?
That's interesting. Yeah, it is. Huh.
And, you know, even to like decapitating the Statue of Liberty, they were probably like, you know, it'd be cool. And then they realized, well, actually, wow, they were something working through them they didn't even catch, maybe. You know?
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Yo, we're coming towards the end here. I would like to ask you, what is your favorite horror movie and why?
Alien. Alien still scares me to this day. Alien gave everything to me. It ruined my world at a young age. I mean, before that, it was Star Wars and Grease for me, and then I saw Night of the Living Dead, which I thought was interesting, and then my dad took me to see Alien, and it wrecked me in a way, but it fascinated me, and I was in love in a way with cinema in a way I had never been before. It was scary. It was an outer space that you just didn't feel like there was a way out, but there was a way out. And cleverness was being rewarded, and intelligence was being rewarded. There wasn't gratuitous sex. It was really smart. The production design was insanely creative. Just everything about it. I still think it's probably my favorite horror film. Even though maybe considered more science fiction, I would say it's definitely more horror.
I think it is too.
Don't worry, you're safe here. You're safe here. People have said all sorts of movies. People, one guess, you probably, Deborah Sheldon. You probably know. You know who she is?
Yeah.
She mentioned Predator, and I was like, you know what?
All
I think
right.
on the show you can make a good argument. And she did. You have like these buff guys. Yeah, it's an action flick. And you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, a bunch of other people just kicking ass, taking names. And next thing you know, they're to be taken out one by one by something they can't even comprehend. I was like, okay. Now you're talking a horror movie. You're talking about a horror movie for a bunch of meatheads. Okay, that's what you're talking about. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, all right, you got me there.
Yeah, the thing. No, it's a terrifying movie. Yeah, it absolutely is. It's absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Yep, me too.
But Alien,
it's a haunt, but it's not.
Alien is definitely up there on a top 10 list. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know where it would be. Would it be like top 3, top 4? Ooh, man. I still need to really get a bunch of people together to come up with the top 10 list. But I don't know, where would y'all put Alien on the top 10 list?
3.
3?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
What would number 1 be?
Texas Chainsaw.
Ah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Good choice. Solid. And
I
man,
love that movie.
not a lot of gore.
What about The
in the
Shining?
first one. Oh,
That would be number 2.
wow, good.
All right.
Good. Yeah, we
We'll
could talk about that movie for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Have you seen Hereditary?
No, not yet.
Oh my God, John, you have to watch it. Jesse, I know you haven't watched it either, but you need to.
I'm waiting for a night where I can be uninterrupted.
Well, that's a good idea.
Because I don't want to be cut in the middle of it.
I was told to watch it in the dark, alone, and to turn the volume up. So, okay, I'm dumb. I did.
By your brother?
No! Chris Miller told me to.
Okay.
And so then after the movie was over, I had to pee, and there was only one problem. All the lights were off. So I made a mad dash down the hallway to the bathroom, flipping on lights.
Well, that went better. I thought you were just going to fuck it, I'm just going to pee right here. I mean...
Well, I considered it, but then I'd be the one that has to clean it up, so yeah, no.
That'd be gross. Ew.
Yeah. The life of the day, you'd regret that choice.
Yeah.
Out of all the 6 stories in the shit show, there wasn't one about piss. It was all poop.
Oh.
I mean, it makes sense.
Well,
it's all poop. It's a shit show.
Yeah.
Anyway. John
You.
Palisano. Let me hold him like that. John Palisano. It was great having you on the show. Anytime you want to come on, feel free to. I know you're very busy. But just hit us up and let us know, and you come on. Pretty easy.
Thanks, man. I enjoyed this tremendously, and you guys are great. It's and gal are great. It was a blast.
And no problem. I'm glad you like it.
We enjoyed you being on. You need to do an interview with me for my blog too, by the way.
I need to do what?
An interview for my blog.
Anytime.
All right, now, ladies, gentlemen, if you made it this far, press that like button, press the thumbs up button, and share around and subscribe. If you don't, why the hell didn't you make it this far? Come on.
Right.
Come on. Anyway, y'all take it easy.